Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. So 2 days of hard work, but I think long term it's going to be worth it. I'm not going to do a proper video today, as I would call it anyway. So this is just what I've been up to more than what I'm going to do. I mixed up the... I'll just get it out, I suppose. Somebody's only going to ask. That's what I've been using. This is a concentrate. It's got a little measuring thing at the top, which is a bit fiddly, but it does basically work. You know, you get the liquid into the little bubble at the top where my thumb is to the required level, and then you take the top off, and as you take the top off it turns a little gadget round which stops any liquid coming out of the big container and only allows the amount that you've measured to come out. So it's a little gadget. As I say, it's a bit fiddly, but it sort of does the job. And I've used that at the full strength allowed for ornamentals, and everything in here has been absolutely drenched either with the sprayer or by dunking the whole plant, and the plants have effectively been watered with it. So, you know, there should be a good uptake from the roots, because everything was rather dry, shall we say. Over dry, better example. I've just noticed that I've missed two. The hibiki and the... I've forgotten what that is. Those two got moved out of the way while I was getting at those pots and hung up there so that they were out of my way, and as a consequence they've been forgotten. As far as I know, neither of those two have actually got bugs, so it wouldn't be the end of the world if they got missed. I haven't seen any bugs at all on the hibiki and the whatever that is. Something nocturnum. Epidendrum or something like that. So I've missed two, but apart from that everything else is done in here now. The last few of the cattleyas are on the floor drying off a bit. I've tried to avoid handling as best I can. Obviously the sprayer is good from that point of view, but watering, obviously got some on my hands, so don't think my hands have ever been this clean, the frequency with which they've been washed. Anyway, it's all done now. The last lot were the small pots up there, so they're absolutely wringing wet now, and the job's done. So I've got an Orchid Society meeting tonight. I'm just about to wander up the road and see if I can scrounge a lift, because I can't get mobile till Monday, basically, as I explained before. But I should be able to get a lift tonight. I'm going to take the camera along on the grounds that if there's a good show bench display, it's got to be worth filming, because it's a video that I don't have to get ready for, if you see what I mean. All I've got to do is barge a few people out of the way so that I can film, and we get to look at some orchids that are not mine. You know, it's the only real opportunity I get apart from shows. And our show, Bournemouth Orchid Society show, comes up at the end of September, so there aren't any, you know, well, it's only 4 weeks away, I suppose. Yeah, so that was August. August has been a good growing month for me, because that heat dropped. Certainly sort of an amount of May, June and July were not good growing months. You know, it was just far too hot, and excessive amounts of work trying to keep up with everything. But it's all back to normal now, and having just given everything an absolute soaking, things in pots have got watered far more heavily than they would normally have done. So I don't need to water out here for a while now. Everything's soaking wet. And even with a bit of sunshine, I'm not going to get that excessive heat. On a sunny day this time of year, I'll be around 27, 28. That'll be fine. We did have one little accident with the sprayer. I managed to get water in one of the wire joiners. Although that sounds dodgy, it wasn't as bad as it sounds, because the joiners that I use are insulated for each wire. So although a wire went in the top down one side and another wire went in the top down the other side, they're not touching. They're insulated. But I pulled the plug out just in case, and that should have all dried off now, so that'll be back to safe again, or safe-ish. Yeah, so I'll try and film the orchids at the Orchid Society, get a look at some other people's plants and their blooms. It'd be good to chat to people again to see what sort of growing season they've had and compare notes. I mean, I know some of the people who tend to stick to the cooler growers will have struggled, I'm sure. And yeah, it's been a strange season. But all back to normal now. As I was going round these plants, I wasn't checking them over, or I wasn't checking for bugs because I was in the process of getting rid of them, if you see what I mean. But I did notice that there's quite a few sheaths, some with buds, in the Cattleya lot. So we'll have a closer look at them in the near future. A lot of Cattleyas do seem to bloom in the UK in either late autumn or winter. They put on their nice new growths all through the growing season and then push out their blooms, when the growths are mature. So that's quite natural in the UK. Some are summer bloomers, and some are late spring bloomers, and some don't even have a regular season. But most Cattleyas in the UK do tend to bloom once a year at whatever time the growths mature. So that's just the way it goes. There's no new blooms opened out here, so I won't go around scouting for them, because obviously they would have been noticed yesterday and today. So that's the job done. I'm hoping it really has done the job this time. I can't get any more of that chemical into the plants, but what I have got to do now is have a flipping good clear up, because the chemicals in places where I work with drips and stuff like that, I'm not worried about the floor. I only walk on that. I don't crawl around on my hands and knees. The cats don't come out here, so I'm going to worry about them. And the floor is nearly dry, so that's nearly done. Excuse me. But I do need to have a good clean up now and get everything washed off that I use regularly. Get the sprayer washed out and clean, ready for next time I use it. And yeah, get back to some sort of normality. That's been a hard job, but it's done now, and in theory the systemic element of that right inside the plants like that should last at least 3 or 4 weeks before I need to start thinking about it again. And if I do need to think about it again, I probably wouldn't go to this level of extremes. I would probably just stick to the sprayer and make sure that the sprayer gets a fair bit down in the pot. Yeah. So job done. Hopefully it works. As I say, with normality now, I haven't had to fill the foggers up for ages. I can't remember the last time I filled those up. It's that long ago. As I say, we've just had a whole sequence of dull weather, but it seems to be brightening up a bit now. So we'll see how we go, and I'll see you next time. Just a quick update, really. Oh, I just thought I'd mention, this is the ready-made stuff, and it says it gives up to 2 weeks control. Now, a bottle that size on eBay you can probably get for £6 or £7, but a lot of the garden centres and places won't sell it, so it's not so easy to just get off the shelf. There are places that still sell it, but you're probably going to pay £8 or £9 for that. This in comparison appears to be quite expensive. I think that was about £12. But given that I've just done the whole grow room, it's gone down from there to there. Yeah? So that is a lot more economical. Yeah? Oh, it's a bit of a faff. You do have to mix it up yourself and everything, and then wash everything out afterwards, whereas that you just point and click. But in theory it's the same basic chemical, but there are different additives that have gone in there to make it work differently. But this one says, up to 4 weeks. Yeah, it doesn't mention 2 weeks on that particular article anywhere. 4 to 6 weeks in one application as opposed to 2 weeks. So this is far, far more economical to use. A much better bet. And I believe that this stuff just hasn't got the strength in it anymore, which is why it hasn't been working. Whereas hopefully this still has. Yeah? So we'll see the results anyway. I mean, I've been doing spot sprays and things with this and the odd plant, and it runs out pretty quick. It doesn't last that long. Whereas this stuff, as I say, is a lot more economical. In theory it's exactly the same stuff, but I'm hoping that this is just a better way of using it, and it does actually do the job. If you tried spraying a large plant with that and giving the pot a good soak, you'd probably use a third of the bottle just on one plant. It doesn't last long. Yeah. It's alright for just touching a odd couple of new growths here and there, like a spot treatment, but yeah, that's a much better bet, but a bit of a faff.